Okay, so I wanted to go over a tweet that was getting a little bit of traction on Twitter the past few days, and just kind of break it down, go over the context behind it, because this kind of thing, at first glance, can be really freaky to anybody who is a Philadelphia Flyers fan. And don't worry, Flyers fans, this is going to be going out there as a placating kind of video instead of one that sparks up controversy or anything. Believe me, I got nothing against you guys. We spoke about you yesterday in the video of the Vancouver Flyers postgame, and this tweet just happened to go out there involving a player that, quite admittedly, had a very good presence in that game yesterday. Here's the tweet that I was referring to that was getting a lot of traction from Paul G.B. Philly reporter Al Morganty on SiriusXM NHL talked about the possibility of Claude Giroux getting moved this season. The only place I could see him willingly go to would be Ottawa. That's it. That's the tweet. And yeah, it's at 300 likes right now, a whole bunch of retweets, a whole bunch of replies. People went out there and shared the heck out of this tweet. It popped up on my timeline several times. But what exactly does this mean? Claude Giroux's going to the Senators? He's willing to go to the Senators? He's going to get traded? What in the world is happening here? Let's calm down. I think the little Spector's note on Spector's Hockey from today's version of the article goes over the entire thing pretty well. By willingly, Morganty is referring to Claude Giroux waiving his no-movement clause to accept a trade to Ottawa. That is assuming he is willing to get traded, and the Senators want him as well. He's not going anywhere as long as the Flyers are a playoff contender. So, there's your little contextual update right there. The Philadelphia Flyers are a hockey team that I'm not really too sure how good they're going to be. Like, to be honest, if I had to predict where the Flyers finish in the 2021-2022 standings, I honestly would have a pretty difficult time. If you take a look at where they finished in the 2020-2021 standings, they really did not have a good year. If you look at the East Division, they were third in the East behind New York, Boston, Washington, and Pittsburgh, and they were kind of last in that big group of teams that veered away from New Jersey and Buffalo. The team struggled from goaltending issues and issues of work ethic and engagement and all that stuff. They just didn't really ice out a product that you could confidently say was a playoff caliber team last season. Now, this season, just based off of the one game they've played so far, they looked great in like 25 of the total 65 minutes of playing time. That's the first period, they were fantastic there, and then the last 5 minutes of the third. The second period, the remaining beginning part of the third, and the overtime period were all Vancouver, so that's what I mean when I said yesterday that this game between Vancouver and Philly was like all over the map in terms of who dominated the game at what times. Philly has been kind of struggling with this stuff for a while, and because Claude Giroux, if you take a look at this guy, their captain for crying out loud, he is not the youngest guy in the world. He's 33 years old, still got an incredible knack for scoring goals and creating plays. You could see him banging away for the pass at the side of the net to get the game-tying goal 4-4 in the last few minutes of the third period over there. Just an absolutely insane big-brain play, calling for the pass to go off the boards behind the goal. He gets the ricochet, then he sends it in off of Demko and in, tying the game up. Claude Giroux has been one of the most underrated NHL players the past decade, and I'm not shying away from that notion over here. The guy has been consistently one of the best producers in the league in the past decade. You know, when Crosby and Malkin and Patrick Kane and all these guys were doing their thing, yeah, Claude Giroux was kind of in that boat as well. 93 points in 2012, 86 points in 2014, 73 in 2015. Okay, he dipped a little bit, but guess what happened in 2018? 100 points. The guy is an absolute madman, and he never gets the respect that he deserves in this hockey league just based off of the fans and all that. Who knows? Maybe it's because he's playing in Philly. I'm not really too sure. But either way, Claude Giroux does indeed have one more year left at $8.275 million, and because of the direction of the Philadelphia Flyers, it is a little bit difficult to try to predict where things are going to go from here. In fact, we had an update earlier on, just before the season began, that the Flyers and Claude Giroux both agreed that they're not going to actually do any contract negotiations throughout the season. They're just going to put it off and wait until the season ends off in 2022. This is a tweet here from Bill Meltzer. The player likely indicated a desire to stay put. However, they will figure out the term and cap hit within a range based off of how Claude Giroux performs this season, and of course how well the Flyers perform this season as well. And I get it, while this by itself isn't a bad piece of news, it's easy to see how somebody who is a fan of the Flyers can look at this and say, oh, we're not signing Giroux yet? We're going to wait till the end of the season? I don't know, man. It's kind of treading some rough water over there. You might be in a precarious situation if you don't deal with things properly if you allow Giroux to go to the end of the season without a contract. Let's say the team absolutely craps the bed. Giroux has a career-low 30-point season. Maybe not career-low. He's had lower producing seasons than that in the past when he was a rookie, but let's just say he gets, 30 points on the year, the team sucks, Carter Hart doesn't get it back together, the chemistry between the team is whack, their engagement in the game, it's super unpredictable. Would we have a scenario where Claude Giroux just does not want to come back after seeing that? I mean, he's not going to have a contract. He's going to have all the reason in the world to deny an opportunity to return to this team. He's 33 years old, for crying out loud. It's not like his shelf life at the NHL level is all too long anymore, isn't it? And so, this tweet that we talked about at the beginning just kind of indicates what could happen. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, assume the Flyers do not fix their woes. Assume the Flyers cannot get it together and play a full 60-minute game consistently. Assume Carter Hart does not improve. Assume everything goes wrong for the Flyers, and at the trade deadline, the Flyers are well beyond a helping hand's reach of a playoff spot, and they just need to unload. Okay, Claude Giroux, very valuable NHL player. He's super talented, he's super skilled, very good shot. He's got value. So, where do you go? He does have a no-move clause, which is why this entire thing is being brought up, and it's why Spectors Hockey went out there and brought up the idea himself. If Claude Giroux does get traded, because he is a trade deadline rental kind of scenario, he has full control over where he wants to go. However, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, the only place that Al Morganty, who is a Philadelphia reporter, could see Giroux wanting to go would be the Ottawa Senators. Why? Well, it's the hometown thing. It's the, Jason Spezza is going over to Toronto because he wants to play for his hometown team kind of thing. It's the Corey Perry is going over to Montreal because he's playing for his hometown team kind of thing. Yeah, Giroux is one of those. And it's actually kind of interesting because I had seen a whole bunch of Senators fans specifically. I have no idea if they're memeing or if they're just being facetious or if they're legit in thinking about this, but I'd been seeing a lot of Senators fans saying, yeah, next offseason, Claude Giroux is going to be a free agent. If he does not re-sign with Philly, then hey, guess what? He's going to come here because he wants to come home. He wants to play with Brady Tkachuk and he wants to play with Stützle and Norris and kind of be that guy to mentor the new generation while also playing for his hometown team and being that guy for our squad. It's honestly been kind of an idea that's been brought up the past few months, and I'm talking about like Reddit posts. This is something from 7 months ago, Claude Giroux on the Ottawa Senators subreddit. There are a few other things talking about it on Twitter that I had seen a lot over the past few months as well. Claude Giroux to the Senators is not a brand new idea, but it is kind of interesting that it was brought up on SiriusXM NHL Radio that maybe it is a lot more feasible than what I thought it would have been a few days ago, which was zero. I was just kind of thinking, Claude Giroux not playing for Philly? That does not seem right to me. That's like if you put Sidney Crosby on any other team. And by that I mean any other team. Not specifically one, like, Washington, that would be weird. Calgary would be weird. Vancouver would be weird. Toronto would be weird. I don't know why I'm naming only Canadian teams, but that's just kind of the thought process that I'm going through right now. Seeing Claude Giroux and any other team would be strange. And it's kind of why in my head I was always kind of thinking, okay, well, they're just going to go back and re-sign him, right? Unless he's cup chasing, Claude Giroux has no real reason to go to any other team, right? And then we had the updates that it was like, yeah, they're not going to re-sign. They're not going to negotiate until the end of the season, and they're going to leave everything off the table until then. And that's kind of why I think it's valuable, at the very least, to bring it up right now, just in case we do have that scenario where the Flyers absolutely stink by the trade deadline, which I don't want to say is likely, I don't want to say it's going to happen or whatever, but I don't want to make it seem like it's impossible. Just based off of what we saw yesterday, the Flyers are a good team when they're all playing to the best of their ability. It's just when they're getting manhandled by Matthew Highmore and Vasily Podkolzin and Justin Dowling all night, it becomes a little bit difficult to think that this team has what it takes to go far in the playoffs. I get it, it's one game, but it's one game out of only one game played so far. We have a bigger sample size to go through as the year will go on. So talk to me in the comments, Philly fans. What do you think about this entire Giroux situation? Do you want to see him go to a different team if your team sucks? I get it. You guys love Giroux. You want him to stay on your team forever. But if you guys are not good enough to completely go out there and make an impact in the playoffs, would you want to see him go? How difficult would it be to accept that situation? You already lost Voracek. Now, granted, you got Atkinson, who scored yesterday, but still. There is an argument to be had there, which is why we're bringing it up in this video. Talk to me in the comments. What do you think? Hope you enjoyed this Rosén 99. And bye.